That's a good question. We would like to know the answer to that question as well. Right now, we're targeting May 11th as a start date. And the reason why is because we know that the order for elective surgeries to not be performed in hospitals expires on May 8th. The next Monday would be the 11th. However, we really don't know. There are work groups, task forces that are in place right now under the governor's order. They're coming forward with recommendations. We'll know more about that next week. And we anticipate by the end of next week, we will have an answer as to when we will resume elective surgeries. The answer is yes, but we're looking at a lot of other models as well. The reality is that we've never dealt with anything like COVID before, so we're learning as we go, and the models change all the time. Some of the models say we've already hit our peak. Some of the models say that we're a month away from our peak. The reality is that we know that social distancing is having an impact. We know that there are other factors that are playing into our numbers as well. We also recognize that even though we're doing well at this moment, small events can have a big burst in activity, and that's what we're trying to prevent. The value of the CHIME model, however, is that what it allowed us to do is to look at what would happen if we did have a huge explosion of COVID in this region. Our job here at TMH is to prepare for the worst, to take care of our community in all situations. And the CHIME model allowed us to model around how we would engage our community, our colleagues, and our doctors in that level of care. Is TMH taking care of COVID patients? Absolutely. Initially, when there was a breakout at the Tallahassee Developmental Center, many of those residents first went over to Capital Regional. However, we have been taking care of patients as well. In fact, many of the colleagues who were there have been under our care. Right now, we currently have over 10 COVID patients. We've had as many as 20 patients and patients under investigation, and have taken care of over 80 either COVID patients or patients who have been under review. You need to remember every single one of those patients requires us to treat them as a COVID patient until they are ruled out otherwise. The other thing that we've been preparing to do is to make sure that we take care of patients in the safest environment, not just the safest environment for our patients, but also for our colleagues. And we have been able to expand our levels of care by adding more, not just beds, but units under negative pressure. We're constantly working on that. A lot of people are surprised to find out that our census, our patient census, is actually down. It's been down for a while as we eliminate elective procedures. We are now, however, starting to see that census tick up. And it's not ticking up in a good way. We're seeing patients come to the emergency room who are sicker than they've ever been. That's alarming. What that means is that people are waiting too late to seek medical care when they should. So our message, everyone out there, is continue to practice good social distancing. But we also want people who do need medical care to seek medical care appropriately and in the timing that they should. Here's some good news. We're getting a much quicker turnaround from our contracted lab sources. For all of our outpatient activity at the drive-thrus, the walk-ins, those go to outside organizations, and they're now giving us a response oftentimes within 1, 2, and 3 days, compared to 8 to 10 days just a few weeks ago. Internally, for our inpatients and our staff, we are looking at services here. We have a couple of high-tech analyzers that allow us to do the nasal swabs, which are the gold standard. We also have now added antibody testing, which gives us the capability of looking also at a person's immune system to identify if they've had COVID. That helps in the process of not just getting people back to work, but also allowing us to share that information for the purposes of building a vaccine. We have had the benefit of actually testing about 100 of our colleagues here who have been on the front lines of COVID. These are doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, others. And what we have found so far, knock on wood, is that in 100% of the cases, our PPE practices have been successful. None of these individuals so far have tested positive in the antibody test for COVID. With the low census, many people are asking us, are we still hiring here at TMH? The answer is, of course, yes. We recognize that this is a short-term event. as far as how we engage our community in care, and we will need to fill critical positions. In some cases, if it's a non-critical position, we are delaying, but for the most part, as we look at certain positions, in particular those clinical positions, we absolutely recognize the need to bring high quality individuals on board.